Welcome to Vantage Hemco. Our extraction and manufacturing facilities are located here in Greeley, Colorado, spanning over 60,000 square feet. Let me walk you through the two state-of-the-art facilities, Falcon and Raven, that are compliant with good manufacturing practices to produce pharmaceutical-grade CBD and finished consumer products. There are two primary principles that were used in the design of the facilities here at Vantage. One is safety. The safety of our operators and our first responders is the utmost importance. The second is GMP compliance, and compliance not only with North American standards, but worldwide standards. We are currently in our Falcon building, which is 35,000 square feet and dedicated to incoming biomass, biomass storage, preparation for extraction, CO2 extraction, and the analytical laboratory. The Raven building, located across the street, houses our hydrocarbon extraction, winterization, distillation, and isolation processes to produce CBD isolate. The process starts here at Vantage with incoming biomass. Biomass is delivered to us through these roll-up doors and is placed in the staging area. In the staging area, every bag of biomass is sampled for potency. A composite sample from all the bags is prepared for release testing, which includes potency, pesticides, heavy metals, mycotoxins, and bioburden. While it's in testing, it is in what's known as quarantine. And that means that the material cannot be used for extraction or processing. Only after the testing has come back as acceptable and has been released by QA will that material be released for processing. However, if we have material that doesn't meet our specification, it gets rejected and sent back to the grower or disposed of. After the biomass has been released, the next step is processing the biomass. First step is decarboxylation, which is accomplished using a BPEX decarboxylation system, which is basically a continuous flow oven. Decarboxylation is the process of converting CBDA, the native form of CBD in the plant, to CBD, the biologically active form of CBD. Biomass is introduced into the inlet hopper and then metered onto a conveyor belt, which conveys the biomass to the top of the machine, where it goes into the first of two long tubes. The first tube on the second level is 15 feet long and is heated at 365 degrees Fahrenheit. There's a series of paddles that mixes and pushes the biomass from one end of the tube to the other over the course of approximately 20 minutes, in which 95% decarboxylation rate is achieved. When it gets to the end of that tube, it's transferred to the second tube on the lower level, which is also about 15 feet long, but is cooled using a glycol solution. It cools the biomass back to room temperature, and the biomass is then ejected from the system and collected into super sacks. The collected biomass is placed in quarantine until release procedures are complete. The decarboxylated biomass is ready to be loaded into extraction socks in preparation for extraction. The entire system is under a nitrogen atmosphere that protects the biomass and all the cannabinoids and terpenes from oxidation at the high temperatures. Vantage takes safety very seriously, and we have incorporated safety into not only our procedures and SOPs, but also into design and monitoring of the facility. This is not only to protect our operators, but also first responders. For example, the decarboxylation system requires a high nitrogen flow rate. If there was a leak, this room could fill up with nitrogen and suffocate operators. This room is equipped with oxygen monitors in the four corners that continuously monitor oxygen levels in the room. If at any point the oxygen level starts to drop, it will initially reach an alert point. The alert point is a warning to operators that there's a leak or that there's something wrong that needs to be corrected. It may be something as simple as an open valve or something serious like a leak at a joint or a broken part on the system. If the issue is not corrected, the situation becomes serious. The system will reach an alarm stage. At this point, everyone must evacuate the building and the fire department will come to deal with the situation. That provides the greatest level of safety for our operators and our first responders, because all of these sensors go to a central readout that helps the first responders understand the situation and whether they need specialized equipment to enter the room if it's safe to enter. The decarboxylation room is the only room where loose biomass is handled. Along with keeping the dust and biomass in one area, the room is classified for handling hemp dust. Hemp dust is explosive if not handled correctly. All the electrical in this room is sealed and has its own ventilation system. After decarboxylation, the biomass is loaded into extraction socks for extraction in this room. The extraction socks are placed in the forms and a predetermined amount of biomass is loaded into each sock. We then seal them and place them into totes for inventory. The next step after we preload our socks is extraction. We have two primary methods of extraction. One is CO2 extraction, the other is hydrocarbon extraction. In CO2 extraction, we use supercritical CO2 to extract the cannabinoids from the biomass, while hydrocarbon extraction uses liquid propane. For supercritical CO2 extraction, we have 6 identical extraction systems, with each having 2 extraction columns. One column is extracted while the other is being loaded. Once the first column is complete, extraction is switched to the second column while the spent biomass is removed from the first column and a new biomass stock is ready for extraction. The Analytical lab is where we do our internal testing for potency, preparation of samples for external testing, and process development. We use an HPLC system to analyze samples for the full cannabinoid profile. The samples are collected and brought into the lab. Composite samples are created and then sent out to third-party labs for release testing, which includes pesticides, heavy metals, microbial, and mycotoxins. They also perform potency testing to confirm our internal results. The ability to analyze samples internally allows us to ensure process control and monitor processes to ensure they are within trend. What we also have in this lab is small-scale versions of our commercial process, which includes small-scale versions of our winterization, distillation, and crystallization processes. This allows us to do several studies very quickly and on the 500 ml scale as opposed to the 500 liter scale. We then confirm the operating parameters on the commercial scale. As part of Vantage's ever-expanding capabilities, we have installed an ISO 7 compliant clean room. This room will allow us, in a controlled and classified environment, be able to produce finished goods such as bulk solutions, tinctures, topicals, lotions, and several different products for our clients. Our second building, known as Raven, houses our hydrocarbon extraction, winterization, distillation, and crystallization processes. Raven is our second building and is a 25,000 square foot facility. Unlike Falcon, which has a lot of open space, the Raven building is set up quite differently with defined spaces for each of the processes. The Raven building has a water purification system that takes city water, pre-treats and filters it before going through a reverse osmosis filters and deionization system. The system produces USB purified grade water. The water is circulated in a continuous loop throughout the system, and once per week an automated process where the temperature is increased to 80 degrees is used to sanitize the loop. It then discards the water from the system and refills it with new processed water. This water is only used for 2 purposes: cleaning the facility and cleaning our equipment. We do not use water in any of our extraction, purification, or manufacturing processes. Vantage uses aqueous cleaning detergents rather than organic solvents for cleaning equipment because it's safer for our employees and less expensive than the use of organic solvent, which need to be disposed of properly. To enter the manufacturing area of Raven, you have 2 routes of entry. One for materials and equipment, and the second for operators. Double doors leads into an airlock system where an operator will open the doors, place the materials or equipment into the airlock and exit. They will then enter through the gowning room where they wipe down the materials with alcohol wipes before bringing it into the facility. Or another operator who is present can perform that task. Raven is designed so that each of our processing rooms has its own dedicated utility room. Those utility rooms house all the equipment that is necessary to perform the processes designated in each room. We keep equipment separate so that we have more comfortable and safe work environment for the operators and minimize the risk of contamination. Raven is set up like a standard manufacturing facility with a central corridor where all of our manufacturing rooms are located off of. The flow of material through the facility is unidirectional, with raw materials and equipment entering through the airlock system, and any waste products or equipment will exit through those same airlocks. Any finished goods, whether it be crude, full spectrum oil, distillate, or isolate, will exit through those doors on the opposite end of the hall to go into our inventory area. We are now here in the cleaning room in the Raven manufacturing area. This room is dedicated to the cleaning of any portable equipment, for example, anything on wheels or small equipment that can be brought in by hand. We have CIP pumps that circulate cleaning solution, and then once everything is clean, it can be brought back into the production area and used in the manufacturing process. Any equipment that is too large to be brought in here, such as our winterization tanks, are cleaned in place. Next is the hydrocarbon extraction rooms. These units are controlled through an HMI screen, which is connected to a PLC, which is mounted in the hallway. Our extraction units are completely automated. All the valves, pressure differentials, everything is controlled through a PLC and recipe driven. The operator needs only to press start and stop. When they press start, It starts the cycle, it goes through purging, extraction, and recovery, and then prompts the operator that the cycle is finished and ready for the next cycle to begin. The only manual part of the process is when the operator removes the spent biomass and puts a new biomass into the extraction columns. We have 2 hydrocarbon extraction rooms which are identical. Each extraction room has 2 liquid propane units. Each extraction unit is capable of processing approximately 1 ton of biomass per day. The system is designed to run cryogenically at -10 degrees centigrade and produces a cleaner extract with less contaminants such as fats, waxes, chlorophylls, and other molecules. These units, to the best of our knowledge, are the largest extraction units available. Each one of these units has 6 columns, and each column is capable of holding 30 pounds of biomass. The next step in the process is winterization, where we take our crude extract from supercritical CO2 or hydrocarbon and remove the fats, lipids, and waxes. It starts in the first tank, where we dissolve the crude in methanol and then cool it to a low temperature, which causes the fats, lipids, and waxes to precipitate out of solution. Filtration through successively smaller pore-sized filter socks is used to remove the precipitated fats, lipids, and waxes, and then do a diafiltration using a tangential flow filtration system. This removes any dissolved or residual fats that are in the filtered methanol solution. That filtered solution is then collected in a separate tank, which acts as a surge tank to the falling film evaporator. The first step is the vaporization of methanol. That goes through the vapor arm and is condensed using a plate and frame heat exchanger to convert that methanol vapor back into liquid, and is reused in subsequent winterization processes. The oil is collected in the separator and then transferred over to the pot still. In the pot still, the oil is heated to a high temperature under high vacuum and constant mixing to remove any residual methanol, after which we have our finished product, which is a full spectrum oil. The distillation room in Raven at Vantage Hemp houses our Chemtech KD30 distillation apparatus. It is a dual stage white film short pad distillation system. The full spectrum oil is added to the feed vessel and heated to liquefy. It then goes to the first stage, where we remove any organic contaminants and terpenes. The resulting material goes on to the second stage, where contaminants are separated from the distillate. The distillate is a viscous amber-colored liquid with a CBD content of approximately 75 to 82%. Lastly is the crystallization room, where we create CBD isolate. The process begins with the introduction of pentane into our niche filtration system. We then add distillate to form a solution, which we chill to about -30, causing precipitation of CBD from the solution. There is a filter plate at the bottom of this unit that collects the CBD isolate as we pull off the mother liquor. The collected CBD isolate is washed with additional cold pentane to remove any remaining contaminants and produces a nice white crystallized CBD powder, which is our final product. At Vantage Hemp, our combined capacity of production scale surpasses the industry standard. Our commitment lies in producing the highest grade GMP compliant CBD extract. Thank you for taking this tour with us. For more information, please visit our website at vantagehemp.com.